You know, there's something about winter that's just deeply unsettling, right? That quiet you get when there's a heavy snowfall. On one hand, it's peaceful, but on the other, it can feel so isolating, almost threatening. So today, we're going to dive into three true horror stories that really play on that specific kind of winter dread. Yeah, think about it. That perfect, pristine blanket of snow, it feels like a blank canvas. But what's hiding underneath? It covers up tracks, it dampens every sound, it can totally strand you. These stories we're about to get into, they're all about what happens when that beautiful, cold silence gets shattered by something absolutely terrifying. All right, so for our first story, we're heading to a quiet neighborhood in Quebec. And the setup is just classic horror, you know? A woman, her dog, a nice, peaceful walk in the woods. That is, until it all goes horribly, horribly wrong. This one taps into a fear that feels, well, ancient. Okay, so let's set the scene. It's late afternoon, so the light's already starting to fade. A woman is out walking her dog, Monty, and she decides to take an unmarked trail, feeling a little adventurous. But then she spots this weird makeshift shelter off in the distance. And right around then, her dog starts acting strange. He's alert, agitated. He knows something's up way before she does. You can just feel that tension ratcheting up, can't you? And this is the moment, the first real, solid piece of evidence that she is not alone. See, the snow is supposed to be a comfort, right? It's supposed to show you that the path is empty. Instead, it reveals the exact opposite. There's another set of footprints, and they're way bigger than hers. Someone else is out here, and somehow they got on this trail without her ever seeing them. I mean, that's the real core of the fear, isn't it? That feeling of being completely by yourself out in nature, which should feel peaceful, but then, boom, it's shattered. She picked that path specifically for the solitude, for the peace and quiet. Little did she know, she wasn't alone at all. And just like that, the illusion is completely gone. Her dog is just going nuts, barking like crazy, and she finally turns around, and there he is, a tall man, dressed in a white camo jacket, standing totally silent, maybe a meter away. He's not moving, he's not speaking, he's just watching. And suddenly that isolation isn't a comfort anymore. It's a trap. So she gets home, she's shaken up, obviously, but you think, okay, she's safe now. But nope, the forest was just the first act. The terror literally followed her home. Hours go by, it's the middle of the night, and her dog wakes her up. And you just know something is very, very wrong. The motion sensor light outside her patio door clicks on, and the nightmare is real. The man from the forest is standing right there, in her backyard. That safe line between the woods and her home, it's just been completely erased. He didn't just see her, he followed her. He found her, and now he's right outside. Okay, wow, so let's shift gears a little bit. Our next story moves away from that raw, primal fear and into something terrifyingly modern. This one is all about how the technology we use every single day, the stuff we trust, can be turned against us, twisted into a really sophisticated, really scary trap. I mean, look at this. The sheer calculation here is what gets me. This was not a random chance encounter. This was a plan, a cold, methodical plan. Step 1, steal the dad's phone. Step 2, use it to text his daughters pretending to be him, luring them out to an isolated spot. And then, just wait for them. He even plants a tracker on their car. It's just chillingly precise. So they get to this secluded lake. The sun is going down, and they see this figure they think is their dad. They walk up to him, and the narrator pulls back his hood. And in that 1 second, everything flips. It's pure horror. The person they trusted, their dad, is suddenly a monster, except it's not him at all. They realize they've just walked straight into an ambush. Somehow, they manage to get away. But just like in that first story, the horror doesn't end there. It follows them home. Hours later, they get a text, and it is one of the creepiest things I've ever read. It proves two terrifying things at once. 1, he knows exactly where they live, and 2, he's watching them. Right then, in that moment. The terror is no longer outside. It's right at their window. And then all hell breaks loose. The guy actually appears outside a second-story window with a gun. He shoots, shattering the glass. They hear another crash downstairs. It's a full-on siege.
Later, the police figure it out. They find an AirTag, a tracker, planted on their car's tire. So that explains how he found them, but it does nothing to answer the biggest, most terrifying question of all. Why?
All right, for our last story, we're going somewhere else entirely. We've had the primal stalker, we've had the modern tech-savvy predator. This one moves beyond anything that feels, understandable. It's surreal, it's psychological, and it honestly defies all logic. The setup here is all about total, complete isolation. You're on a deserted road. There are no houses, no lights, nothing for miles. Then, a blinding snowstorm hits, the kind where you can barely see a foot in front of your car. The weather itself becomes the enemy. And then, inevitably, a crash. The car skids, hits a tree. He's okay, but the car is wrecked. He's completely stranded, alone in a storm, with help at least 40 minutes away. So as he's just sitting there, waiting, he starts to hear things from the woods. First, it's footsteps crunching in the snow. Okay, maybe another person. But then, he hears this bizarre, wet slurping sound. I mean, what even makes a sound like that? He calls out, but gets nothing back. Just silence. Whatever's out there, it's making its presence known, but not showing itself. So eventually, he gets out of the car to investigate. And what he finds is just deeply unsettling. There are boot prints circling his car. Someone or something has been checking him out. But it's not just the prints. There are drops of blood in the snow, leading away from his car and into the trees. Naturally, he follows the blood trail into the woods, and that's where he finds it. A deer. But it's been slaughtered, decapitated. The stomach is ripped open. This isn't just an animal attack. The whole scene feels like some kind of brutal, bizarre ritual. But as he's taking in this gruesome scene, he realizes the most disturbing part is what isn't there. The deer's head is just gone. And that single question, where is the head, it just hangs there in the freezing air. It changes everything. This isn't random. This is intentional. And here's the payoff. This is the absolute peak of surreal horror. He goes back to his wrecked car, and there it is. The missing deer head is sitting in his driver's seat, placed there, positioned to be looking right at him when he opened the door. It's not even a threat anymore, it's something else. A message. A twisted, terrifying trophy left just for him to find. Okay, so wow. 3 totally different stories, right? A stalker, a predator, and whatever that was. But what do they all have in common? Let's break it down and really look at the anatomy of winter horror. So when you lay it all out like this, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. You can see the progression, right? We go from a physical stalker to a tech-savvy predator and finally to this totally unknown tormentor who uses pure psychological terror. But look at the common threads. Total isolation and the violation of what's supposed to be a safe space, your home, your car. But the scariest part? Look at the resolution column. In every single story, the person is never caught. The threat just melts away back into the snow, leaving this fear that just lingers, like the cold itself. And I think that's why these stories really get under your skin. They're a chilling reminder that the quiet of a winter night might not be empty at all. When the whole world is muffled in white, it's the perfect cover for things that don't want to be found. So maybe the next time you look out at a field of fresh, untouched snow, you might just ask yourself, who's listening? And whose tracks will be the next to appear?